Welcome, dear traveller of the wizarding world. Today, we step beyond the cracked doorways of Diagon Alley and into the ancient, dust-choked corridors of conspiracy. Have you ever wondered whether Ollivanders, purveyor of the finest wands since 382 BC, is more than just a shop? Could it be that this venerable institution is the face of a secret cabal, one that has, through the subtle art of wandlore, nudged the course of magical history itself? What you are about to hear might sound like the stuff of legend, but as every Hogwarts student learns early, myths often veil a deeper truth. Consider Garrick Ollivander, whom Harry Potter first meets in his search for a wand. An unassuming figure, silver-eyed and soft-spoken, yet possessed of a knowledge so ancient and precise it borders on unsettling. The way he speaks of wand cores, the delicate interplay between wand and wizard, hints at mysteries older than Hogwarts itself. Yet even more curious is his reaction to Harry's wand, a brother to Voldemort's own. He doesn't just remark on this, he seems deeply invested, as though the wands, rather than their wielders, are the true players in a hidden game. If Ollivander's lineage has overseen the crafting of wands for millennia, it begs a question: how has one family alone maintained dominance over the most vital magical implements of wizardkind? Wands, after all, are no mere tools. They are extensions of a wizard's very soul, a conduit between raw magic and will. To control wandlore is, perhaps, to exert invisible influence over generations. It is no accident that every student at Hogwarts, from the noble houses of Malfoy to the humblest Muggle-born, steps through Ollivander's narrow door before ever setting foot in a classroom. Dig deeper still, and you uncover whispers of the Wandmakers circle, a name found not in textbooks, but in murmured tales passed down in secret societies like the Department of Mysteries. Some believe it is a brotherhood of master wandmakers, sworn to guard not only the secrets of wood and core, but to shape magical destiny itself. They would not intervene crudely, rather, they would design subtle harmonies between wand and wizard, steering fates not with spells, but through the silent symphony of allegiance, resonance, and betrayal. A nudge here, a tilt of destiny there, enough to change the tide of wizarding wars without ever lifting a wand in battle. If this cabal exists, their reach would explain certain phenomena, why particular wandwoods, like Elder, Ash, or Yew, so often reappear at the heart of decisive moments in wizarding history. Why some wands, like that of the Elder Wand, seem imbued with destinies darker and older than the lives they pass through, and why Garrick Ollivander, so reluctant to join Voldemort's cause during the Second Wizarding War, was nonetheless prized enough to be abducted. Because knowledge, not allegiance, was his true value. In tracing Ollivander's thread back to its origins, we find ourselves stumbling into the misted past of Britain's early wizarding tribes, long before the establishment of Hogwarts. It was a brutal time, when wizards brandished raw magic with their bare hands, uncontrolled, dangerous, and often fatal. The emergence of the wand was not just an advancement, it was a revolution, taming magic and allowing civilization to flourish. Those who mastered wandlore then did not merely craft instruments, they shaped the future of the magical race itself. The Ollivanders claimed their craft began in 382 BC, but notice the specificity of that date. It is almost suspiciously tidy, suggesting a foundation not of a mere family business, but of an institution, a chartered beginning, perhaps, for this hidden circle. Consider the peculiar traits of Garrick Ollivander himself. An almost seer-like ability to pair wizards with their wands, a mind that speaks of synergy as if hearing the music of magic. Such talents are rare and rarely isolated. They hint at ancient training, possibly bound by oaths older than the Ministry of Magic itself. Moreover, the Cabal's existence would explain the silence surrounding wandlore's deeper arts. In a world where everything from potions to magical creatures is chronicled extensively, it is peculiar that wand-making remains almost religiously shrouded in secrecy. For Hogwarts teaches students thousands of spells, but not the crafting of wands. Why? Because to control the creation of wands is to control access to magic itself, a power far too great to be entrusted to the careless hands of the many. Look carefully at the tales we know. In the tales of Beedle the Bard, the Elder Wand passes from master to master, soaked in blood and legend, yet never is it mentioned how the wand itself was first born. Who designed a wand capable of overpowering all others? It is almost as if the record has been deliberately erased, the true art hidden by those who knew that too much knowledge would unravel their careful web. Could it be that the Elder Wand was a project of the earliest Wandmakers' circle? An experiment in supremacy that spiraled beyond their control? Throughout the centuries, the Cabal would need to remain hidden, guiding from the shadows. During moments of crisis, the Goblin rebellions, the rise of Grindelwald, the return of Voldemort, they would act not by direct confrontation, but by ensuring that certain wands, certain wizards, rose or fell at the right time. Ollivander's strange disappearance during Voldemort's second rise becomes then not just a kidnapping, but perhaps an extraction, a desperate attempt to reclaim or protect lost knowledge before it fell into enemy hands. If the Cabal's hand has been hidden in wizarding history, then the evidence lies not just in what happened, but in what could have and did not. Why, for example, during Voldemort's initial rise, did no greater wandmaker challenge him openly, despite their potential to create weapons of astounding power? Why was it necessary for the prophecy surrounding Harry Potter to hinge so critically upon a wand connection? Brother wands, linked by phoenix feather core, it seems too precise to be mere chance. The twin wands, crafted years apart, binding two fates together in a single inescapable collision, such a design bears the fingerprints of those who understand magic at its deepest currents. And what of Dumbledore, a master of ancient magic, a possessor of the Elder Wand in his final years, and a known seeker of hidden truths? Did he suspect the Cabal's existence? Some whisper that his refusal to openly confront the Ministry during Voldemort's first defeat, choosing instead to lead quietly, gathering secret knowledge, was partly a recognition of the deeper game in play. Perhaps even Albus Dumbledore, for all his brilliance, knew there were forces at work that could not be unseated by spells or political maneuvering alone. Even the selection of Hogwarts wands suggests quiet influence. Every first-year wizard receives a wand from a very narrow lineage of makers. Yet why does no government agency regulate wand distribution more heavily, given that magic without control can threaten the statute of secrecy? The answer may be that certain ancient accords, agreements lost to public record, protect the Wandmakers' circle, granting them near-sacred autonomy in exchange for maintaining balance among the magical population. More chilling is the possibility that the circle has sometimes acted not to preserve peace, but to incite necessary conflict. If history shows us anything, it is that wizarding society evolves not in quiet, but in fire. Would the Cabal, ancient, calculating, have deemed the deaths and suffering of the First and Second Wizarding Wars necessary sacrifices to achieve some broader realignment of power? The idea is horrifying, yet so often in the wizarding world, tragedy is followed by transformation. And who better to ensure the proper shaping of that transformation than the unseen stewards of wandlore? It would be an error to imagine them as villains in the simple sense. The Cabal's goal, if it exists, is unlikely to be one of domination or cruelty. Rather, like the wands they craft, they may seek only to channel magic, to shape it toward balance, however ruthless that task may sometimes require them to be. Just as a wand chooses the wizard, perhaps the Cabal chooses the future, bending the world toward outcomes they alone can foresee. If we accept that Ollivanders and the Wandmakers' circle subtly guide magical destiny, then the role of individual wizards becomes even more fascinating. Take, for instance, Harry Potter's sudden mastery of the disarming charm, Expelliarmus.A, spell of separation, not destruction. It is almost symbolic, a magical philosophy encoded in his wand. Was it merely personal inclination? Or did the wand that chose him, a wand that recognized and harmonized with his essential nature, reinforce this path? Such harmonies do not arise purely by accident. Perhaps the Cabal had long known that the world would need not a destroyer, but a disarmer. Tom Riddle's choice of yew-wood for his wand is another telling sign. Yew, traditionally associated with death and rebirth, hints at dark power and resilience beyond the grave. Voldemort's eventual transformation into a creature neither living nor dead was mirrored, predicted even, by his wand's core nature. If the Cabal did not directly bestow these wands, they at least allowed their creation, guiding magical potential to extremes where only clash and change could follow. The Goblet of Fire, too, presents peculiarities. The the Triwizard Tournament, ostensibly a competition for fostering international friendship, becomes a vehicle for Voldemort's rebirth. But the wand that enables Harry to survive the graveyard confrontation is the brother of Voldemort's own. Their duel results in the phenomenon of priori incantatem, a magical effect so rare it almost seems scripted by deeper forces. Could this have been foreseen, not by Trelawney's fragile visions, but by those who understand Wandler's ancient rhythms? Perhaps the Cabal had calculated that only through such a singular collision could both wands, and by extension both destinies, be revealed. And the very notion of wand allegiance adds more fuel to this theory. The Elder Wand, a relic of immense and perilous power, is swayed not by mere possession, but by mastery, a secret encoded into wandlore that few fully grasp. This knowledge was not widely taught, it was hoarded, a carefully guarded truth. If the Cabal understood allegiance better than any living soul, then they would have been the true masters of magical loyalty all along, wielding influence across generations without ever raising suspicion. Even the final downfall of Voldemort pivots on wandlore, the Elder Wand's refusal to truly serve him, recognizing Harry, not Voldemort, as its true master. It was not brute force nor sheer will, but the silent, unbreakable laws of wandcraft that ended the darkest chapter of wizarding history. And who, if not the ancient guardians of wandlore, had woven those laws in the first place? In the aftermath of Voldemort's fall, the wizarding world celebrated its heroes, buried its dead, and turned anxiously toward the rebuilding of normal life. Yet amid the sweeping changes, Ollivanders quietly reopened its doors, unchanged but for a few more burn marks on the floorboards. Garrick Ollivander returned to his work, answering no questions about his absence, offering no insights into what he had endured or revealed, while captive, the shop, ancient and eternal, continued its quiet business, a symbol of continuity in a world still trembling from the storm. But perhaps the true work of the Wandmakers' circle was never meant to be visible. Their task was not to be known, not to be thanked, like the wands themselves, carved from quiet wood, cored with hidden magic. Their influence worked unseen, connecting destinies one thread at a time. Every witch or wizard stepping through the door of Ollivanders unwittingly entered a grander design, their wand a whisper of the future they might yet shape. Some say that the circle still watches, perhaps even intervenes in ways too subtle for history books to record. A wand's sudden loyalty shift, a spell behaving differently under strange stars, a prophecy misheard or misunderstood. All these, maybe, are nudges from the Cabal. Then perhaps, when the next great crisis brews beyond the edge of sight, it will not be an aura or a minister who first senses the change, but the wands themselves, humming warnings into the hands of their chosen wielders. If there is a lesson to be drawn from this hidden history, it is one familiar to those who love the wizarding world. True power lies not always in brute strength, but in the subtle, unseen forces that bind us together: loyalty, choice, and the deep, ancient magic that dwells in trust. Perhaps Ollivander was telling more truth than we realized when he said the wand chooses the wizard. Perhaps, through wand and wizard alike, the Cabal still chooses the world. It's a born evening in London turning to rain. The last wrinkle of dawn has just in front captured the fabric of all our lives. And see the next time you walk past that crooked shop front on Diagon Alley and see the windows crowded with sleeping wands. Remember, they are not just waiting for owners. They are waiting for the next turn of history.